Rally crash in Western Australia, the loss of two icons in 5 days. Tonight, we pay tribute to the man known as Peter Perfect. A short time ago, Ben McCormack talked to Peter's former wife, Bev Brock.
He was loved and respected for his driving, for the person that he was. He tried so hard, it was so important to him to be respected by people, and that he worked every inch at being Peter Perfect, Peter Brock, the perfect individual, and he didn't find it easy when he made mistakes, and this way he'll be perpetually young and not ever have to answer for his mistakes. So in that sense, I suppose it's a fitting way.
It's a terrible cliche, but he died doing what he loved?
Absolutely, absolutely. Died doing what he loved and young at heart still. So once we get over the shock of it and resolve a few things, I guess that's the way we'll see him, that's the way we'll remember him. And I had a premonition early this week. And I think he did too. I think sort of part of him knew, I mean, there was a time when he was ready to retire, and he knew then it was time to retire. But he didn't find it easy with the loss of such a humongous part of his life, that passion. He didn't find it easy to fill that hole. So doing it still.
He loved life?
Absolutely. He loved life. He loved society. He constantly wanted to contribute to make the world a better place. He didn't always live up to his own expectations, and that sort of would leave him a little bit nonplussed, but he strove very hard to be the Peter Perfect that everyone wanted him to be.
How would you like him to be remembered?
The most amazing driver, a person who saw good in everything, who wanted to make the world a better place, and who wanted to be, he was a Peter Pan, he wanted to be young forever.
What will be his legacy?
I guess that's a curious one. His legacy will be strive for perfection, always reach for the stars. He always said in his autographs, live your dreams. And I think that's the way he'll be remembered, as a real people person. He had a remarkable gift for dealing with people. And I think that's how he'll be remembered.
Tough news for Bev. As she said, though, Peter died doing what he loved best, and that was racing. Well, Nine Network reporter Bob Harnett was the first reporter at the crash site. He joins us now. Bob, can you explain to us what you know about the circumstances of the crash?
Carl, the major crash are still investigating. They don't really know, but you can probably see behind me, it's on a very steep downhill left-hander. It was on greasy, wet roads. It's been a filthy day here in Perth weather-wise. And the tree you might be able to see behind me is the tree that Peter hit, his Daytona coupe, and he hit it pretty hard, mate. The skid marks went for about, I suppose, 50 metres. He probably knew he was in stride 50 metres before he hit that tree. That tree, a local farmer has told me, has claimed the lives of 8 motorcyclists over the years, so this is a very notorious stretch of roadway.
Bob, can you give us an indication of what sort of speeds they might have been doing around that bend?
I have no idea, but that is a very powerful motor car. Yeah. I would estimate he would have been going around, and I could be putting the cart before the horse, and I don't want to prejudice any police investigation, but I'd say he was doing 100 plus, even around that very sharp corner.
Bob, take us there tonight. There must be a real sense of shock, a real sense of loss where you are.
Carl, this is a very black Friday in Perth. Not only is it black weather-wise, the mood here is sombre and black. There were a lot of people on this corner watching the cars go by, and they don't race each other in a targa rally. They race against the clock. It's normally, well, it's very controlled and normally very safe. There were a lot of people on this corner. I wasn't here at the time. I got here about a half an hour, or maybe 3/4 an hour after the crash happened. I spoke to a lot of people who did see it, and some of them, they're all rev heads, obviously. Some of them were in tears that a legend, the man that made the number 05 famous, died just out of the blue, just totally unexpectedly.
Right. Bob, thank you very much for your time this evening. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, mate.
Well, Peter was one of the greats of racing, dominating the Bathurst 1000 during the 70s and 80s, earning him the name the King of the Mountain. Well, joining me now are 3 of the present champions of the track, last year's V8 champion Russell Ingall, and former Brock teammates Craig Lowndes and Jason Bright. To you, first of all, Russell, what was your reaction to his death?
Hello, the motorsport community is in absolute shock over this. I mean, he was such a popular person, and I mean, you just can't believe it. He was larger than life, and to now realise he's not with us is just incredible.
Craig, as a young bloke coming through the ranks, what did he mean to you?
Well, really, he helped me enormously getting into the sport, and you know, we still kept in contact. He helped me. You know, it's hard to describe. He touched so many people. He helped me enormously understanding the sport, understanding the media, and you know, as Russell said, it's undescribable.
Jason, he was a real mentor to you too.
Yeah, he was. He was a pretty special bloke. He, I think he meant a lot to everybody within motorsport. He, like Craig said, he was always there for advice. And you know, growing up, he was certainly a hero of mine, and I'm sure he was a hero of a lot of other people. And you know, to get the privilege to work with him and drive for him was, you know, something pretty special for me.
Russell, I recall quite distinctly the 79 Bathurst win. He won by 6 laps. He set a race record on the final lap. It's difficult to imagine those sort of achievements being bettered.
Absolutely. I remember that lap myself. I was watching it, and it's just an incredible feat. I mean, it is. But, I mean, Peter Brock as a whole, you know, I used to look at his achievements on the racetrack, but his achievements off the racetrack, like the way he treated the Australian public, the motorsport community, and that was his special trait. Like, he was just so giving in every respect. He was the last driver to ever leave the track signing autographs. I remember seeing him one day with a torch, sitting at a table, signing autographs at night as everyone was driving out, and he had a queue about 100 metres long. He's just an incredible bloke.
Craig, he was a little flamboyant off the track, an ideas man. How did you find him?
Well, he was fantastic. You know, whenever we had a bad race, I remember plenty of times we had them, he would always say it's character building, and you know, you'd get on with it. You'd always look forward. You'd learn by your mistakes, but you know, you just get on with life. And he just had so much spirit. He was always positive. He'd sit there and he'd go, "Well, look at the crowd. Look at this. What a great day! It's a great day for racing." And it was just an amazing, he's an amazing person, and we'll never see anyone like him ever again.
Jason, he was very much the ultimate professional, wasn't he?
He was, and you know, like the two guys had said, he was there for the fans. You know, he worked very hard for all the sponsors in the sport. You know, our sport wouldn't be what it is in Australia now without Peter Brock, and you know, we owe him a lot as drivers, and I think the whole sport owes him a lot.
All right, gentlemen, we appreciate your time on this very difficult day for you personally and also for motor racing in general.
Thank you.
Well, Peter Brock officially retired from racing in 1997, but he couldn't resist the pull of the track, returning to Mount Panorama twice and racing in other motorsports in recent years. He was a true legend of Australian sport.
That puts Brock of the Holden Tirana into first place.
He was a man of many monikers. King of the Mountain, Peter Perfect, the spirit of motorsport.
Peter Brock, 0-5.
And he earned every single one of them.
Peter Brock at the wheel of a car that on this track, this day, has recorded a classic victory.
More than anyone, Peter Brock was the definition of finesse behind the wheel, not to mention success behind the wheel. He died doing what he loved.
Australian series leader Peter Brock is favoured to consolidate his position as national...
Brocky's driving ambition began 40 years ago as a hobby. It became a passion, a profession and an obsession.
I think Johnson's better than you.
Well, it's a matter of opinion.
Faster car than you, I reckon.
Not for long.
This was a man who was responsible for dividing Australia into 2 tribes, Holden and Ford. The battleground was Bathurst. Brock was Holden and his arch-enemy Alan Moffat was Ford.
Moffat will pull out the stops down the straight.
Peter Perfect dominated motor racing for 30 years, won Bathurst a record 9 times, retired from racing V8 supercars in 1997.
OK, now we're coming up to a roundabout.
On the track, he championed the .05 message with his car. Off the track, he campaigned tirelessly to keep the rest of us alive on the roads.
OK, so I turn around here, blinker off, and away we go. I think it's good. I like intersections. I like them when they're controlled very nicely by a roundabout that everyone reads properly. It makes sense.
Peter Brock died this afternoon at 61. 9 Bathurst titles, 3 wives, 3 children, and 1 supercharged legend.
Motor racing has taught me an enormous amount about how to deal with a lot of things in life.
In the end, Peter Brock met the checkered flag of life the way he would have wanted, behind the wheel of a very fast car.
Well, Peter Brock's arch rival on the track was Dick Johnson. Remember those encounters? Well, he spoke a short time ago at Sydney Airport.
Well, the number of times that we raced wheel to wheel and never even swapped paint, you got to have an awful lot of respect for a guy like that, and we respected each other immensely, and it's going to be a sad loss to motor racing. He was always the polished guy and I was just the ocker, and at the end of the day it was a great combination, and it's a very sad day.
Dick Johnson there. One of Peter's best mates was Laurie Lawrence, the two working closely together with the Australian team during the Athens and the Sydney Olympics. Laurie joins me now from Brisbane. Good evening to you, Laurie. How are you faring tonight?
Carl? Yeah, a bit shocked actually, mate. I heard it this afternoon. I was just cut. Oh, we had some great times together at the Olympic Games, you know.
Laurie, let's talk about that. Off the track, I know that he was a little bit of a larrikin, and you definitely saw that side of him.
Oh, crazy. Like we get into the Olympic Village, nothing but gravel, and John Coates said, we need this cleaned up, boys. We've got to relax and unite the athletes. So Brocky said, we need some gear. Let's get some gear. So we've got the okay, and before you know it, indoor, outdoor carpet right over the whole grassed area, gravel area. No shade, Athens. So Brocky jumps in he always wanted a car or something to get around in, so he's jumped in the golf buggy and away he goes, come back with a twinkle in his eye. He said, up at the Athletes Centre, mate, I've just discovered they've got 12 big shade umbrellas. I think we can do something about it. And I thought, all right. So I've hunted up the hockey boys, and that night at 10 o'clock, he and I had one golf buggy, I had the other, and we relocated 6 big umbrellas into the Australian section of the village. Next night, the Olyroos, they said, we can do this and we'll get the other 6 from down the other end of the village. So we finished up with the best athlete section of the whole village, and that's just only part of it. I mean, every day he'd wake up, we're in the room together. He'd get out the program for the day and look across and pull his glasses down and say, Laurie, who are we going to help get a gold medal today? And that was the sort of bloke he was. Kids were having trouble, he'd have an arm around them or get them in or say, listen, pull your finger out, son, get on, and not as bad as you think. He was just a pleasure to be around. He's a sad loss to Australia.
Laurie, you mentioned this afternoon that the Greek police might be still looking for you blokes over that incident. Is that true?
I think the security's still looking for Brocky. Yeah.
All right, Laurie. Listen, we thank you for your time tonight. We know it's a difficult day for you. Many, many stories will be told in the next couple of days, so thank you, mate. And there is more about Peter Brock and his amazing life on our website at 9MSN. Now, Emma Page thought she would never be a mother. She was seriously overweight, 160